Monday in Tryon, North Carolina, and what a great day it's been. I've had a chance to minister to people in the hospital. I've had a chance to share with other pastors, to hear from other pastors, and to fellowship with other pastors, and it's just been a great day. We're continuing to look at Jesus on prayer, and we're looking at prayers in the gospel order, that is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We're looking at the prayers that Jesus prayed, some of which are clear, and some of which we have to do some divine speculation by looking at the context of the prayer. Nevertheless, we've been looking at Jesus on the subject of prayer, and tonight we want to look at Luke 22:32. And here's what it says: "But I have prayed for you, that your faith may not fail, and that you, when once you have turned again, strengthen your brothers." And that's what I tried to do today. When I shared with the pastors at a Polk Associational meeting, I tried to share with them the importance of prayer and how not only for us to learn how to pray as pastors, but also how to teach our people how to pray and to strengthen them, to bring their will in conformity with God's will, and for us to bring our will in conformity with God's will, that our faith may not fail. Boy, that's as clear an intercessory prayer as you could possibly see. And I believe that Jesus still wants that for all of his disciples, just as he did for these that he was praying for. And then the next one is found in Luke 22:39 through 44. "And he came out and proceeded, as was his custom, to the Mount of Olives, and the disciples also followed him." It was Jesus' custom to pray. His disciples weren't surprised when he said, "I'm going to go pray." This was the custom that Jesus had. It was a part of his life. That's why it's so important for us to remember that the focal passage for all of this is pray without ceasing, because that's what Jesus did. And when he arrived at the place, he said to them, "Pray that you might not enter into temptation." So he told us it's very important for us to pray that we be spared from any temptation. I think that's particularly profitable for pastors today, because I think we have a much more promiscuous society. I think there's far more aggressive women in the world today than there was 20 years ago. And I believe that every pastor has great temptations in many areas of his life in the world that we live in. And we need to pray that we'll not fall into temptation. "He withdrew from them about a stone's throw, and he knelt down and began to pray, saying, 'Father, if you're willing to remove this cup from me, yet not your will, but my will be done.'" I think it's incredibly important that we realize that Jesus thought, if there's any other way to do this thing, let's do it that way. "But nevertheless, thy will be done." You know, sometimes we don't want to live someplace. I heard pastors' testimonies today, and have in the past, where they said to God, "Place me any place but," and guess who placed them in exactly the place they didn't want to be? Well, I was one of those, and he placed me exactly where I didn't want to be. And I heard that testimony today, and I've heard it so many times before. But he will bring our will in conformity with his. I wouldn't give $1 million for the year that I spent in a place that he sent me, that I said is the last place in the world that I'd want to be. And even the 27 years at the church that I served last was not geographically my favorite place. But oh, what a blessing it was to minister there for those 27 years. So we see our will is brought into conformity with his, and his will is always best for us and always gives us the biggest blessings. So we see him interceding for us in prayer and telling us how to pray, praying not to be led into temptation. And his own prayer was one of conformity with God's will and God's will only. That's your thought for the day. God bless you and have a great day.